Today we are going to transition one step further when it comes to proportions, and we are going to make a use of them with dealing with similar figures. So the first thing that we need to talk about is what is a similar figure. Our similar figures are figures that have the same shape but are not the same size. For example, these two right triangles that we have here, this one and this one, obviously since they're the right triangles and they have the same side lengths for both of the sides that make the right angle, that they are the same shape. But as you can see, they are obviously not the same size. Now, one of the big keys for today when we talk about similar figures is going to be knowing what our corresponding parts are. When we talk corresponding parts, these are our side lengths and angles that match up between two similar figures. So for example, this angle and this angle are corresponding because they are both right angles, which therefore means that this side length is similar to this side length, they're corresponding. This side length and this side length are corresponding. And this side length with this side length are corresponding. They match up in that they are proportional to each other. Now, the big thing also we're going to talk about is orientation. And you hear orientation in several different contexts. Our context here is how a figure is placed in space. Our first ones that we're going to deal with in this video deal with figures that have the same orientation, or the figures are facing and flipped the same way. And the next video will be on differing orientation. So we're going to take a look here at how to go ahead and solve these. So the first thing that we're going to do is we need to determine the corresponding parts between the similar figures. So when I look at these two trapezoids here, I see that this side and this side match with each other because they're part of the set of parallel sides and are the longer ones. And that also then, because these have the matching orientation, this side length and this side length match. So then our next step is going to be to set up our proportion. So when I look at this, I go from figure number 1 to figure number 2. And I say that we can say that 3 corresponds with X, just like 4 corresponds with 6. Now, the only problem that happens with setting it up like this is that when we go to solve, just like yesterday, we've got that variable in the denominator. So we're going to take our first step right away, and we're going to flip these ratios. And so we end up with x over 3 equal to 6 over 4. Now when we go about our route of our LCD here is 12. So we can go ahead and multiply both sides by 12 over 1. And that will result in having 12 and 3 divide by 3 to make 1 and 4. I'm going to do that in a different color so it's easier to see. And here, 4 and 12 divide by 4 to make 1 and 3. So when I come over here, I'm seeing that I have 4x, because I have a 4 here and an x here, equal to 6 times 3, which is 18. Now this gets back to where I know how to solve it, so I go ahead and divide by 4 on each side, and 4's cancel, leaving me with x. And then on this side we got 18 and 4. 18 and 4 can both be divided by 2, so that gives me 9 over 2. I can't leave it 9 over 2, but I know that 2 goes into 9 4 times, because that's 8, and I have 1 left over, so 1 over 2, which is 4 and 1/2 for my missing value. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next one, where we have 2 pentagons. We have side lengths of g plus 2 and 10 in the smaller one, and 5 and 4 on the bigger one, and I know that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but the pictures don't have to look what the numbers say. So when we look here, I have to match up corresponding parts. I see that these have the same orientation, which means this side is going to match this side, and this side is going to match this side. So when I set that up, I get that G plus 2 matches with 5, and 10 matches with 4. Now we're fortunate enough in this case that the G plus 2 is on the top, so we are going to use our LCD, which our LCD in this case, 5 and 4, is 20. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply by 20 over 1 on both sides, which then on the left hand side, 20 and 5 divide by 5 to go to 1 and 4, and 4 and 20 divide by 4 to go to 1 and 5. That gives me 4 times the quantity G plus 2 equals 10 times 5, which is 50. Now I'll go ahead and bomb out the 4, which will give me 4G plus 8 equals 50. So now I can go ahead and subtract 8 from both sides, giving me 4G, because the 8's cancel, equals 42. Now I realize that 42 is not evenly divisible by 4, but we're going to divide by 4 anyways, giving me G, and 42 over 4, both of these divide by 2, which gives me 21 over 2, which simplifies to 10 and 1/2.